If you're a woman over 60 and your hair has been thinning, falling out in the shower drain, or just looking flat and lifeless, I want you to stop what you're doing and watch this, because what I'm about to share with you changed everything for dozens of my patients. Most women I see in my practice have been told the same thing for years. It's just hormones. It's just aging. There's not much you can do. And I have to be honest with you, that answer is not only incomplete, it's doing real harm. Because here's what the research now shows. The hair loss that millions of women over 60 experience is not an unavoidable consequence of getting older. It is, in the vast majority of cases, a reversible biological process, one that is being driven by very specific, very fixable mistakes. And today, I'm going to walk you through all 7 of them. Before we dive in, where in the world are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments right now. We have women watching from all over the world, and I love knowing who's in this community. Are you over 60? Let me know. Now, a quick note before we begin. I'm a physician, not a miracle worker. Everything I share today is based on clinical research and my own experience treating patients. This is not a substitute for personalized medical advice. If you're experiencing significant hair loss, please do see your doctor. Ideally, one who will actually listen to you and run the right tests, which I want to say is not always the case, but more on that in a moment. So today, I'm going to go through all 7 mistakes I see most commonly, and more importantly, what to do about each one. I'll give you the science, I'll give you the practical steps, and I'll be specific because vague advice helps no one. Mistake number 1, protein deficiency, the silent thief. Mistake number 1, and this is the one I see in nearly every single patient who comes to me with hair loss, is not eating enough protein. I know that sounds almost too simple, but stay with me because the reason this happens is more specific than most people realize. Hair is made almost entirely of a protein called keratin, and your body, in its infinite wisdom, has a strict priority system. It will always direct dietary protein to your vital organs first, your heart, your liver, your immune system, before it sends any to your hair follicles. So if your protein intake is low, even slightly low, your hair follicles are essentially the last in line. They go into what researchers call a telogen effluvium state, which is just a clinical way of saying your hair follicles shut down and your hair sheds. A 2021 study in the International Journal of Trichology found that women over 60 who consumed less than 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight had significantly higher rates of hair thinning, 58% higher compared to women who hit that threshold. Now, here's what makes this tricky for women in this age group specifically. After menopause, something called anabolic resistance kicks in. Your muscles and tissues become less efficient at absorbing and using protein, which means you actually need more protein as you age, not less, just to get the same effect you used to get from a lower amount. So what does that look like practically? Aim for a minimum of 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight per day. For a 150-pound woman, approximately 68 kilograms, that's roughly 82 to 109 grams of protein daily. The best sources for hair specifically, because not all proteins are created equal, are eggs, salmon, lentils, Greek yogurt, and chicken or turkey breast. These foods are high not only in protein, but in the specific amino acids that form keratin: lysine, cysteine, and methionine. Pro tip: spread your protein across 3 meals rather than loading it at dinner. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows that muscle and tissue protein synthesis is significantly more efficient when protein is distributed throughout the day. Your hair follicles absorb it the same way. Mistake number 2, ignoring the scalp entirely, the foundation problem. Mistake number 2 is something almost no one talks about, and it may be the most overlooked factor in women's hair health after 60. Most women focus entirely on the hair itself, the strand, the length, the color, the shine, but they completely ignore the scalp. Your scalp is skin, and like all skin, it ages. After menopause, the sebaceous glands, the tiny oil glands that naturally lubricate your scalp, become less active. Blood circulation to the scalp decreases. The skin becomes thinner, more prone to inflammation. And when the scalp environment is compromised, dry, inflamed, or poorly oxygenated, hair follicles cannot function. It's like trying to grow a garden in compacted, nutrient-depleted soil. A study from Dermatology Research and Practice found that women with chronic chronic low-grade scalp inflammation had hair follicle density measurements 38% lower than women with healthy scalp conditions, even when hormone levels were identical. That number stopped me when I first read it. 38%, not from hormone, not from genetics, from scalp health alone. First, scalp massage. I know it sounds simple, almost too simple, but the evidence behind it is real. A study published in ePlasty found that just 4 minutes of daily standardized scalp massage over 24 weeks significantly increased hair thickness in participants. The mechanism is increased dermal papilla cell activity and improved microcirculation. In plain language, blood flow goes up, follicles wake up. Do it in the shower with your fingertips, not your nails. Circular motions starting at the temples, working toward the crown. 4 minutes. Second, address dryness. Coconut oil applied to the scalp 20 minutes before washing, not the hair, the scalp, has shown in multiple studies to reduce protein loss from follicles and improve scalp hydration significantly. Pro tip: avoid sulfate-heavy shampoos. Sodium lauryl sulfate, which is the aggressive foaming agent in many drugstore shampoos, strips the natural oils from your scalp and disrupts the microbiome that protects hair follicles. Look for sulfate-free on the label. Mistake number 3 is one that causes a tremendous amount of unnecessary suffering because it's almost always missed by a standard blood test. I'm talking about low ferritin. Ferritin is the storage form of iron in your body. Most laboratories flag ferritin as low when it falls below 12 nanograms per milliliter. But clinical research, including a widely cited study published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology, shows that hair follicles begin to shut down at ferritin levels below 40. Some studies suggest the threshold for optimal hair growth may be as high as 70. So a woman can walk into her doctor's office, get a blood test, be told her iron is normal, and have a ferritin level of 15 that is actively causing her hair to fall out. If you have unexplained hair thinning, first thing I want you to do is call your doctor and ask them to check not just iron, but ferritin specifically. Write down that word, F-E-R-R-I-T-I-N. If your ferritin is below 70 nanograms per milliliter, the best dietary sources of iron for women over 60 are red meat, particularly grass-fed beef, lentils, pumpkin seeds, and spinach. If you're supplementing, the form matters enormously. Iron bisglycinate is significantly better tolerated than ferrous sulfate, which is what most over-the-counter iron supplements contain, and causes far less gastrointestinal upset. Pro tip: take iron with vitamin C, not calcium. Vitamin C increases iron absorption by up to 67%, according to research from the British Journal of Nutrition. Calcium, dairy, and coffee all block iron absorption significantly. Mistake number 4 involves a hormone you might not expect. After menopause, estrogen drops dramatically. Testosterone and its more potent derivative, DHT, dihydrotestosterone, does not drop at the same rate. The ratio shifts, and suddenly DHT becomes relatively more dominant. DHT binds to receptors in your hair follicles and essentially tells them to shrink. In women, it tends to present as diffuse thinning across the crown, top of the scalp. A study in Skin Pharmacology and Physiology found that postmenopausal women with androgenetic alopecia showed 40% higher DHT sensitivity at the follicle level compared to premenopausal women. On the nutritional side, certain foods have demonstrated measurable DHT blocking effects in clinical studies. Green tea, specifically the compound EGCG, has been shown to inhibit the enzyme 5-alpha reductase, which converts testosterone into DHT. Pumpkin seed oil, a randomized trial published in Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine, found 40% more hair growth in participants using pumpkin seed oil compared to placebo. Saw palmetto, doses of 160 to 320 milligrams per day have shown similar enzyme inhibition. Pro tip: if DHT-related loss is significant, speak to your doctor about prescription options like spironolactone. It is not a hormone and is commonly prescribed off-label for this condition. Mistake number 5 is one I see constantly: women spending money on biotin and collagen when their hair is still falling out. Here's the truth about biotin. Deficiency is extremely rare. A large meta-analysis in the journal Skin Appendage Disorders found that biotin supplementation showed measurable benefit only in people who were actually deficient. The nutrients that the research actually supports for women over 60 are vitamin D3 plus K2. Vitamin D receptor activity in hair follicles is essential for the hair growth cycle. Ask specifically for D3, as D2 is significantly less effective. Zinc, 15 to 30 milligrams per day in the form of zinc glycinate or citrate. Silicon, specifically bioavailable forms found in bamboo extract or orthosalicylic acid, which are required for cross-linking collagen and keratin. Pro tip: always take fat-soluble vitamins, D3, K2, vitamin
i.e., with your fattiest meal of the day. Fat is required for absorption. Mistake number 6 is chronic stress and the cortisol follicle connection. Chronic stress has a direct and well-documented effect on hair follicle function. When you are chronically stressed, your body produces elevated levels of cortisol. Cortisol drives follicles out of the active growth phase, anagen, and into the resting and shedding phase, telogen. A landmark study published in Nature in 2021 found that sustained high cortisol levels directly suppress the stem cells in hair follicles. For women over 60, the stress response system becomes more reactive, meaning the same stress produces a longer cortisol spike. Shane plant in lower doses of 300 to 600 milligrams of KSM-66 extract have shown to reduce serum cortisol by 27 to 30%. Magnesium glycinate 300 to 400 milligrams at night improves sleep quality and reduces cortisol. Diaphragmatic breathing, slow, deep breathing for 10 minutes daily, activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Mistake number 7 is using products that accelerate follicle damage. The products causing damage are often marketed specifically at women with thinning hair. After 60, the scalp's barrier function is compromised, making you more sensitive to parabens, preservatives with weak estrogenic activity, formaldehyde-releasing agents found in some straightening treatments, silicones. These create a coating that gives a false impression of health while potentially blocking follicle openings. Simplify and purify your hair care routine. Look for products labeled free of sulfates, parabens, silicones, and formaldehyde releasers. Pro tip: sleep on a silk or satin pillowcase. Cotton creates friction that can cause mechanical breakage in fragile, thinning hair. 30-day challenge. None of these mistakes are irreversible. Your hair follicles are still there and capable of producing healthy hair. For the next 30 days, I challenge you to track 4 things: daily protein intake, 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram body weight, daily 4-minute scalp massage, 10 minutes of deep breathing, and number of hairs lost per day in the shower, roughly. Come back in 30 days and tell me what happened in the comments. Which of these 7 mistakes have you been making? Tell me your number: 1, 2, 3, or all 7. I read every single comment. If you're new here, I make videos exactly like this one about the specific health challenges women over 60 face. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Share this with a woman in your life who's been struggling with her hair. It might be exactly what she needs.